1972. And I got there, and my shining moment, and to get up and introduce myself to Leon Hess, and all the players are there, all the veterans are there. So I get up, and as I'm getting up, the pants just pop. They split from all the way in the crack, all the way up. Boom. Wide open. I had borrowed a pair of red underwear. One of my roommates. But quick thinking, I grabbed the table napkin as I stood up, covered myself. That was one of the first times I spoke. Very interesting. We're going to talk about manual resistance today, and a couple other things that I do, and this is a company that we do. We've actually combined pro bodies with the quality repetition, and now it's the website will be up on Monday. We got a whole bunch of things going on in the company, and it's pretty exciting, especially the website. I'm going to be linked to Bob's site as soon as we can. What we do there, we have a number of things going on. We do about 800 to 900 workouts a month in the facility. It's about 4,000 square feet. We now have about 110 NFL athletes that fly in. Believe it or not, we're starting to get high school students flying in from different states to sit with us and just talk about training and describe what we're actually doing with the athletes. Some of the things that were set up here today, we do the opposite of, but like everything else, everything can get you strong. Okay? We just do it in a little bit of a different way. Okay? So what we have going now, we have people also now, we just open it up to the professional people in the neighborhood and the corporate center around us. So we do have people. We have our oldest client is 85 years old. Does the same exact workout as some of the athletes, same exact thing. It's based on, if she bends her arm and I bend my arm and a 14-year-old kid in the place bends his, there's still a bicep there. So we do the same exact program for everyone. The only way the program changes is if there are injuries. Depending on what those injuries were, the only way we change the program is for tennis players, pitchers, and a couple other little different sports that we don't want to really stress certain areas. We have about, I think we've got about 145 NCAA athletes current, and we have 500 alumni, athletes, and parents, and we just have a new group every year, and they stay with us for 4 years, and then they graduate. Now we're going to go online and train them in college at the same time. And I'm always surprised to hear about the college programs. They go to these seminars, and the guy gets up and he presents the book, and it's, all this stuff, ABC, percentage, this, percent, and then you ask the athlete when they come to me, oh, how's the program? You do this? No. I don't do any of it. And that's usually what I see out there as far as the program is concerned. We're also really adamant about not having stress created in any exercise that we do. And that's one of the big things. Believe it or not, we do no plyometrics at all, no squats, no jumping, no ballistic movements. We don't even bench press. And there's a lot of reasons tied to that. We will bench press if one of the NFL athletes comes in and he's got to do 225 for reps. We will bench press, but I won't bench press. He'll actually go back to his school and take that training program that we designed for him and try to do it. Now, one of the things with manual resistance, what I have here, can everybody see that? This is a force plate study. And right now, does everybody know what a force plate is? It's like a kitchen table. It's about that size. It's sitting on the ground. You stand on it, and it registers how much force you're generating. Okay? So, this guy here is 260 pounds. He's standing on the force plate. So what you're seeing is a flat line across there. Now he's going to take a 60-pound barbell and put it in his hand. So now he's standing like this. So now you see the force is 320. Everybody follow? Now just keep that in mind for a second. Same 260-pound man jogging. Okay, this is the forces that are generated through his foot and his knee and his spine. And as you can see, there are some, 600 pounds of force going through the body. Okay, everybody follow that? No problem, right? Okay. Same guy, same weight. Now he's going to do a repetition. Believe it or not, this is one repetition. Can everybody see that? One rep. And that's all the force that's created from one rep. Okay, now obviously he jerked the weight, okay, as you can see. But I don't think he really jerked it that much. Now, can everybody see where A is? A on the chart? Right, that's him standing there. Okay? Now what's B? What's that? Lowering the weight. He's getting ready to jerk the weight up, okay? So it's pretty much, it's not one of these things he really tried to show these forces. He just did what's natural in most gyms. You look over at a guy doing, or a girl doing curls or anything, and you want to get the weight up. And what you're seeing there, B, he's actually lowering the weight, and C is actually when the force generated when he goes to lift it. Okay? Everybody follow me? Somebody tell me what D is. Swinging it up, coming down. Anybody? That's the weight actually in the air. From the impact force, the weight is in the air. Okay, so think of that. How much muscle work is going on at that time? If there's zero force. Okay? And then so on after that. This is where he actually catches the weight. And then we come down from there. Okay? One rep, 60 pounds, okay, on the whole body. And basically in an area that's really not that strong as far as these forces are concerned. Same person, same weight. Here's the rep. Nice and slow. Generating almost no force. Everybody see that? Okay. So what's my point in this whole thing? All the repetitions that we do, we're trying to make them quality repetitions. And there's different definitions of quality repetitions, because one of the things you have out there is somebody that says, hey, I do power cleans, and that's a quality repetition. That's a quality repetition for him. That's not my definition of it. A quality repetition, you got to remember something. With athletes, and I'm speaking just for athletes right now, but it could go a little broader than that. But as far as athletes are concerned, if you don't have any involvement of the muscle in that motion, just picture it, then what is he doing in that range? Almost nothing. The arms are moving, but there's no resistance on the muscle. It's only when he gets here, or she gets here, is there resistance on the muscle. So, we take an athlete out of the weight room and put them on the field. They're in so many different positions, they can get hurt in any position. In infinite number of positions they can be injured in. Do you think it's more likely or less likely that they get injured if they're in that range of motion somewhere? If that muscle isn't strong through the full range of motion. Okay? So that's why we really concentrate on form as being the number one thing in the whole place. The number one concern of any of the training situations that we have is the rep. Hence the name, the quality repetition. And that's what we base everything on. And we have 17 trainers, and I try to continually teach and teach and teach. A lot of the new trainers come in and they really concentrate on getting to the next exercise. They have the chart, they're nervous, they get to the next exercise. That's what they think high intensity training is. Or I want them to concentrate on one rep at a time, just one rep. If they don't finish the workout, that's fine with me. They got to get to the point where they're in their own little world with this client, training one rep at a time, not concentrating at 10. I was telling Linda Jo on the way up here, the way we've changed as far as counting the repetitions, or what we say to the client, or what I say to the NFL clients when they come in. I don't tell them about weight. We're not concerned with any of that. We're not even concerned with numbers. Because what happens is, if they got 200 pounds for 10 last time, and I walk in and say, all right, I want 200 pounds for 11, immediately they're thinking about 11. They're not thinking about 1. But we don't even tell them. We don't set any goals for them as far as the workout itself right there when they come in the door. Everything's designed around working a full range of motion all the time, 1 rep at a time. And that's what the workout's geared towards. Any questions on that? So that's another reason why we don't do any clean, we don't do any explosive movements, just for that reason. There is a danger factor that I won't get into now because that'll be about another hour. And Bob, you told me I have what, 3 hours? No. Okay. Let's talk about how we incorporate the manual resistance in the program. What we do is when an athlete comes in, we have 21 different training programs, 21 different workouts in the facility. The way the facility is designed is that no one really gets any rest between exercises. So we could have 21 clients with 21 trainers every half hour, and you'd never get a rest period in the place. We have 75 machines, free weights. We got a couple little different things going on there, but as far as that's concerned, we have it designed so you never run into one another. There's different starting points and things like that. The manual resistance is actually the most feared workout in the place. And actually, if I want to come back next time and do what's called this functional training that we've designed, where it's totally hands-off. And that is now the worst workout in the place. The most feared workout in the place is when I don't even touch them and just stand there and watch them do a few movements. We did this with one of the Notre Dame players, and maybe 5 minutes into it, it was pretty difficult for him to lay down afterwards, not even stand up. We got beyond that. And it was pretty difficult to lay down, so he was just rolling all over the place. And what I'll do is, you got to remember, I only have a little bit of time with these people. So the guy comes in, he's 6'6", 320, and he comes in the door, and I only have a little bit of time. Sometimes I'll have an hour to prove to him that this workout works. And what's nice is they're really coming, no matter what program they've come from, it's something new for them. And that's what I'll tell you, because it's going to get results based on just because it's new. Just because it's something different that they've been doing for 4 years. And the manual resistance program is geared around, some of the workouts are total manual resistance. Some of them we'll use for, I'll let the trainers, if they're bored, let's say they're training 10, 15 people in a row, and they're bored, then they'll jump in there, and if the person has incline, hammer incline, or free weight incline, or whatever, they'll be able to go in there and do a chest exercise with that person manually. Okay? So anytime, that can come at any time of the workout. So we create a lot of variety based on that, because we can do manual resistance at any time in the workout. And like I said, it's the most feared workout to actually do the manual resistance. We do have a table workout. I can't really show you right here, but I'm going to show you a few exercises like the new manual squats and things like that. But the table is the most feared place to be in the room. It's just a little gray table. But when we take them over there, you can see the face. Everything slows down. When we take them on the table, they don't get off the table for 25 minutes. It's just doing different things, rotated cuffs, you name it. We do chest, we do arms, we do shoulders, legs, hip flexors, extensors, lower back, everything's on the table. And that's part of the manual resistance program. A lot of things that we do are put into the program in those 21 workouts. Okay? Okay. Some of the advantages to the manual resistance are that you can use it anywhere. It's time efficient. Certainly with a lot of the football teams, we're doing the seminars now. I think we did 100 seminars in the last 3 years on manual resistance for teams. And it's really the old Penn State way of doing it. Right on the field, maintaining, what they have muscularly. Because I'll tell you right now, if you know what team sports are like, you can't then take a team in the weight room and realize that they have to get and keep strong doing full body workouts. You can't take them in after practice. Those kids will get out of there at 9 o'clock at night. So what we've put in is, like for instance on football, they'll do a Monday workout right after. It'll be all one set, just to keep the body strong. On Wednesdays, we'll do a manual resistance on the field. And you could have 500 kids on the team, and it would still take 35 minutes to finish. Total, for all of them. They'd all be done in 35 minutes. And it's really how you teach it that is the big thing. Because what we do is we go in and teach the coaches first. Then I have the coaches and the athletes out there. Then we'll come back and I'll watch the coaches teach the athletes. And then we come back halfway through the season and we'll do it again. So that's some of the advantages of manual resistance as far as team. You can get a whole team done in a little bit of time. You don't need much equipment. And I really believe that, as far as full range exercise, you can't really get any better than that. Now there are some disadvantages to it. And one of the problems with it is that you can't record it. So what we've done is all the exercises are labeled. They're labeled, manual resistance, lateral raise 12, lateral raise 20, lateral raise 5, things like that. So we can limit what they're doing as far as reps. And the trainer will know that it's going to be 6 repetitions. Bobby, you want to come up? All the way from Long Island. Now, let's say on a manual resistance lateral raise. One of the things, if you stand there right now, there's no resistance on the shoulder. So what happens with dumbbells, when you raise the dumbbells up, now you get resistance, but not down here. So remember what I was talking about before is resistance through a full range of motion. I want the athlete to be strong all the way through. So that's where the manual resistance comes in, and that's where a lot of the machines come in. Now what we'll do is, this is a real good typical exercise to show, and there's so many different ways of doing this. And what we do is we apply the resistance right here, and from the bottom. And really the teaching point, it has to go both ways. And again, we go back to disadvantages. We go to the disadvantages, and the disadvantage is that I have to know what I'm doing. But I have to communicate that to the person in front of me. And that's a big problem, especially with teams. And what do you get? Most guys, what do you get? You get this guy going like this, okay? And you get this guy going like this. Okay, so there's more of a teaching mode to it, where I know he's 100% strong right now. And I'm trying to eliminate that. So I tell him, don't give me everything on the first rep. Actually, on the first 3 reps, I don't want him to give me all the pressure in the world, because I know he has the potential for that. And plus, if I'm training 15 people, 20 people a day, I don't want to work that hard. I want him to do the work. Plus, I don't want to stress my elbows, my joints, and things like that. So I want to make him do all the work. So let's go into a little advantage, It's an advantage for me to put my hand down here, further away from the muscle, because it's easier for me. Okay? Harder for him. But the reason that we do manual resistance is because if I had a dumbbell in his hand, where would most of the stress be? If he had a dumbbell, where would most of the stress be along this limb right there? Somebody say so. Elbow. Right? So I don't want to create any. That's how much I go back into not stressing somebody. Yeah, I could get away with dumbbell. And somebody could say to me, I never got hurt doing those. Doesn't matter to me. The potential exists to cause stress in here. I don't do them. I'll do them once in a while. We'll do dumbbell lateral raises like this. But we don't do them all the time. It's just like everything else out there. If you keep doing things, something's going to give, especially if you're in a position where you can get hurt already. And I don't mean injured where you're going to lay on the ground and fall over and roll over. I just mean it's stress created in its elbow. if you do it time and time again, you'll create a greater stress. And like I said, when you go on the field or you do anything else, the stress is already there. You're going on the field with the origin of the injury already exhibited in this area. So what I'll do, I'm getting tired. Okay. Now, so what I do is, I don't want that stress on, but it's going to make it harder for me. So what I'll do is, and I'm going to instruct Bobby a little bit. He's done this way back with me. I don't know if he still does it. Please. He'll give me a little bit of resistance. I don't want much. Not in the beginning. Because remember, I want the advantage. Okay? So another advantage right here. Let's say if it's, I remember Sean Farrell from the Buccaneers. And when I first did this, when I was 23 years old, he held me in the air with 20-pound dumbbells in his hand. And I hooked on him. I just stayed right on him. And he's been doing it for so many years at Penn State that he was so strong in all those ranges of motion that he could hold me up in that position. So, what I can do is, I can even go in further. Now it's an advantage for me because I'm closer to my muscle group rather than far away. So it's like this. But once I get him, I can go like this. Again, I don't want to work that hard. Okay? So I'll go like this on Bobby. Come on down close, get him straight. Squeeze through now. He didn't know he was doing this there, right? He's still smiling? So what we'll do is, I'm going to give him a lot of pressure down here. And again, I don't want to work that hard. Now I'm kind of laying on him. And his face is changing a little bit. Smile. Still? All right. Oh, believe you, believe you. Go ahead. Breathe. It's starting to change, right? Stay a little higher. Hold, not really? Oh. Okay. Now one of the problems here is that what I see people doing is, at the bottom they're relaxing. I want the tension to be on the whole time. I want the tension to be on the whole time. So remember, it's not tension where he's pushing up, all right? Because then he wouldn't do the negative right. I just want him to keep a constant tension all the way down here. Because what does that do to him? It gets him tired faster. It gets a full range effect out of the muscle group. Okay? But I see people doing this to get him to the negative. Now where is he weakest? Up here or down here? Where is he weakest in this area? Top or bottom? Somebody say, top, of course. So I want to do less work up here. And it's harder for me at this point. Okay? Now what I see people doing is they're jerking them down. Causing stress. You notice how we have it this way? Okay? I don't like it this way. Too much pressure up here again. We go back into pressure. But here, what we're seeing is people jerking them down. You know why? One of the things is you want to get the exercise over with. Another thing is that you want to fight with this person. You want to get them to have a situation where they're working so hard that they respect you. Right? We take all that out. Right? This is just about working. Okay? And one of the problems with the negative, okay, so now I'm going hands out. Starting to blow some air out. Now just get in my little, oh yeah, got it. Come on. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Stay there. Right? Keep tension, don't loosen up. Good. Two more. There we go. Lean back. Hold right there. Now what does he have a tendency to do? You look at his arms already, they're going forward. Where is he stronger? Where's everyone stronger? Front of the body. He wants to go here, I want to pull him back here. Okay, so those are the contents. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right, so the disadvantage really is you got to be able to interact with the person. You get kids on the field and you know what they're doing. They're clowning around. That's why you got to have all the coaches involved in teaching. The disadvantage, like I said, is that you can't record it. So what I said before, when there's 12 reps on the sheet, they'll know to lighten up on them a little bit to let them get to that point. Or if it's 20. So you really can't go forever. Our speed of movement is, I really don't count it. We do have some super slow exercises that we use. We use a whole number of different strategies just for variety alone. And I'm going to show this manual squat that we have that I think is probably one of the toughest exercises you can do. And certainly when we bring the players in and they talk to other players in the NFL, that's the thing they say. Oh, you going to Jamie? Don't do the manual squat. Don't ask him about the manual squat. Don't say a word. Because what happens is people ask, and then I think they really want to know. Like this gentleman here, the football coach from Jersey, that's the first question he asked me. So we'll have him demonstrate a little bit. Let me see, can everybody? Is that good? Okay. Now one of the problems with squatting is that when the knees go out over the toes, you got stress in the knee. So what we're trying to do is keep the body upright and get into a position where he's working really hard in the areas designed to do the work. And I just had a player from Boston College come down, and he was in the audience, and I just asked him, he did a squat, and he tested out a 500-pound squat. And he did actually the functional squats, as I think about it, so I didn't even touch him. And we made him do the functional squats up on stage. He did 9 reps and couldn't get up. I just grabbed him and laid him on the stage. I'm not going to do that to him, unless he wants to. No, just put your hands up like this. All right, come on, walk up to me. Okay. Just press your knees into me. Go down the squat real slow. Lean forward slightly. See, I want to create that position. Now lean forward more. Get down a little bit more. Right there, anytime. Slow. Come on up slow. Slow. Now again, my purpose here, besides killing him, is I don't want to work that hard. Again, I'm going all day here, 18 hours sometimes. I don't want to work that hard. So I get into a position where I have to force him. Like right now, I'm holding on too much for him. So lean forward a little bit more. See? And I can basically hold on with 2 fingers. It's kind of scary. It's not as bad as the game of trust. But come on down. Lean forward, lean forward. Yeah, get down a little more. Stop right there. Now slow. Now push your knees into mine and push through your heels. Feel that? Big difference there. So there's a big difference in instruction, because what happens is you get somebody to do it the first time and they can't think about anything else than the pain. So what you're trying to do here is slowly instruct them on really how to do it. And it looks pretty simple, right? It's starting to burn a little bit. And this is only the beginner part of this. I'm not telling him that. This is only, like, we have a lot of progressions that we use. Okay? So this is really the beginning part of the exercise. Lean forward a little bit. Knees into mine. Just dig them into mine. You all right?
Yeah. How do you make it harder as a progression without getting up?
Pulling more. It's a matter of him putting his hands together a little bit. Now, I'll actually push down on his hands this way. See? So there's a lot of things you can do. And then I'll lighten up. See how I go out to the side with him? So he's got to do more work. Okay? So this is just right there. Push it slow. Heels. Breathe. 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 Relax your face. Stay there. Stay there. Down slow. Now, if I see, like with the trainers, you know, sometimes they'll be a little cruel because they haven't done much of this themselves. So immediately following, I'll take them through a set. So just to keep everybody honest, it's good because you can really get to someone on now. He's really pulling on me now. Lean forward, more. There, see? Oh, go down. Knees up. Stay right there. Real slow. Slower. Breathe. See, now I'll go out with him a little bit. Not go out with him. Stay there. Push. Come on, drag up. Stay there. Good job. Okay. Now.
Well, that's a good question.
Do you have female trainers doing this with football players?
Oh, yeah. The question was, do we have female trainers doing that with football players? Most definitely. But once, I'll take it out a little bit. Once they get the technique down, and it's hard to get the technique down. You got to try it a few times. And, you really don't want to make your forearm burn. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is you do that all day, and you'll be dying. And a lot of manual resistance is geared around that, where you're pushing somebody, and you get tired in the hand. So that's another reason we really have to teach the person how to do those things. And, if he was with me for a while, he definitely would have done about 10 more, I would say. 10 more reps. Because he'd be able to do it. And the thing I teach the young athletes when they first come in is that it's a skill to learn how to work hard. It's a real skill to do it this way. Because you got to remember something. As soon as he stands up on the last one, I'll you'll see me in the gym and I'll sit him in the incline. And that's what it looks like. And then he'll start on the incline. All right, so you got to remember, the workouts are geared around that, where then he might sit down after that and do a front raise, manually. So the workouts are geared around knowing that he's going to be exhausted on that, and then go to something else. But everything is covered. Really, everybody's on 7 workouts. And I would say 2 of them are full manual resistance workouts, and the rest have them in the middle. And you know what? Sometimes when you see somebody train, like if you were walking my place and see somebody train or do that manual, I don't think it looks that tough from the outside. I mean, it might have looked tough to you a little bit, but that wasn't really that bad as far as being tough. And he did a good job. But I think when you really do the exercises yourself and you get involved in doing them, then you will really see. And that's why I do that to trainers, where I go over and help them remember what it's like to do it. And I require them every 3 weeks to get a workout in, right there. Especially if they have a block of time open, and I see them run in the back room, because they know if there's no vacuuming to be done, they're going to be doing sessions, all right? Okay. Another one, anybody else? Another one we've had a problem with in the past doing rotator cuffs. And one of the problems is now, if I take him on a rotator cuff exercise, which this is not it, but I'll just show you the motion, then what happens is it messes up the workout a little bit. Because now I want to go to an upper body movement, and now I have this side weaker, and I just did this side. I could go to legs, but sometimes in the workout it doesn't work out to be like that. So we had to design a double rotated cuff, which actually was the problem on the field, because we were having kids lay down, we were having kids put one knee down, and the other kid would put his hand here, and we do this. And it got into a problem as far as giving the resistance. Because remember, if we were on the field together, and he just trained me, now I'm exhausted, now I gotta go train him. So it turns into a whole 35-minute workout, because I just worked out, now I gotta stress against him. So you try to match up everybody that way. This is really the single manual resistance exercise we use, and it's this way, I have to shout. Open your hand. Okay? Now, for most people, this is actually a difficult exercise for a lot of the players that come in, because they're all bench pressed out. Especially a lot of the big time programs where they come in and they just totally this way. Okay, so what we're trying to do is make them a little more upright, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So what we do, instead of just doing the motion, what they do is tuck into my hand real hard, and it just changes the whole motion. How's that? Feel that? It just changes the whole thing right there just by digging in the elbow and keeping it there now, see? Now when I go down here, it's the same thing. Now if you're laying on your side and you're doing dumbbell external rotation, what happens at the bottom of the movement? There's no resistance, so it just lays there. That's another reason why we use the resistance. Even with the cords sometimes, it doesn't work throughout the full range of motion. So what we do is we'll go to failure on this. We'll go to failure on this. Depending on the reps, we'll use 12, use 15, we use 20. Now what we've done then is we had to design a double rotated cuff to make it quicker through the workout so we can get to the next exercise without worrying about things. So straddle your feet here, facing me. Now you're going to dig into your elbows into your side. You're going to push out. So what we did is, we did it this way. Go ahead up. Come on, stay there. Now he's still resisting me. I got tension in him right now. He's not relaxed. And that's one of the things, even when kids come in from the major college programs, they say, oh, don't touch the weights down, right? On the weight stacks. And I make everything full range. And there's got to be tension on the muscle. Because even if you touch the weight stack down, you can loosen up. So what we're trying to do is get a full range of motion. Because as that weight gets heavier for that person, that distance at the bottom of the rack becomes greater. You understand what I mean? Because what's happening is he's moving up in weight. It's getting harder, especially at the bottom of the movement. And they don't want to touch the weights all the way down because it's easier to do it that way. So with this now, drive your elbows in, just drive them in hard. See how it changes that? And then all the way out, all the way out. Here. Now I'll make him change every time. I'll make him go down in here. Push out again. And this is a stressful exercise for most people. Especially, stand straight, no, lean forward, there, now push out. Push out more. Breathe a little bit. You gotta breathe. Breathe more, and up, elbows in. Push. And what I try to do, like instruction-wise, it's easy to get the exercise down. But I want the trainer to listen to what I'm saying to the person. Drive your elbows in. Drive them more. Drive your elbows in. Drive your elbows in. Drive your elbows in. See, now I'm not even doing anything. He's working real hard. So, these are basic things. These are pretty basic exercises. We do use, some hip flexor movements. We do a lot now with, let's say you get hurt, you hurt your knee, and you go into rehab. One of the first exercises you do is, this kind of movement, sitting on the bench. We do that before they get hurt. Everything before. So, believe it or not, that might be one of the workouts. Rotated cuff, neck, all manual, right down the body. And it's for, not only is it for hitting the muscle a little bit different, but it's also for variety. The variety is the king. Because remember, I have these kids for 4 years. You get bored real quick. We used to do all kinds of stuff outside with the medicine balls and pushing cars, dragging other people, everything you can imagine. But we stopped that totally. And not so much for insurance purposes or anything like that, just I would have a problem with some kid dropping a dumbbell on his foot. Not in that for insurance or anything like that, just more in my mind, I'm concerned about the kid. That he got hurt. Not that he got hurt in my gym, just because he got hurt. Training with me. And not for any other reason like most people would think. I just don't want the kid hurt. It's like we're having this big senior thing coming up. All the seniors that are graduating and going on to schools. We had this party for them. I was trying to come up with, what to do. Volleyball or, stickball or anything, and I kept thinking of injuries that could occur. Right? So we're playing croquet. Everybody's on a team, and they actually get to work us out that day. So they're sweating, trying to get in there and work this out, coming up on July 30th. So they can do anything they want to it. And that's kind of how we do everything. We graduate a whole group this year. We have a few other things going on for them. And how am I doing on time? About 3 hours left? What do you got? 2:15? How about questions? Any questions, anything? Yes.
How hard is the quantify? You mentioned it, so some days you do 5 reps, 12 reps, 20 reps. And I guess when you're doing 5 reps, you as a trainer are going to put a lot more resistance on the guy because he's got to fatigue at 5 reps. But suppose you're going from, he has a different trainer each time, and he's going to do a different manual resistance exercise. Isn't it kind of hard to, to keep the same intensity from trainer to trainer? How do you deal with that? Or is that an issue for you?
That's not really an issue for us. And, when you look at 5 reps, when you think of 5 reps in your head, you think more resistance on the person. And we actually do a slower movement. Okay? So it's a little, there's a lot of things that it would take so many hours to how intricate it is to teach someone how to do these things, but it's really pretty basic. And what I'll do is, like, if they know it's 5 reps and all the trainers know that it's going to be a slower, much slower speed of movement, so they don't have to apply the resistance real hard. Okay, so there's, and it's hard to quantify. You can't write it down. We just have it marked as 6, 12, 18, whatever it is. We just have it marked as that. And it's really, like I said, for a variety of reasons. And we just throw it in there whenever we want. We have these 0 workouts, which everybody hates. And 0 workouts are just anything the trainer wants, if the trainer knows the client. And with variety, as far as we're concerned, no one trainer has another person all the time, same person all the time. Everybody changes. All 17 trainers train everybody. All 800 workouts is done. You won't know who you're training with that day. And that's really for variety purposes more than anything. And I don't want the same person. And everybody's got a little bit different technique. Same slow motion, just different way of talking to somebody. And we switch around the machines a lot. We switch around the pictures in the place. We just make as much variety as you can in the gym. But that's how we do it. We don't really write it down. There's nothing really to write down. And now there are different exercises, like we'll use the front raise this way. We'll use the lateral raise this way. A lot of the things, when they first come in the gym, the biggest thing for us is I know exactly where they're weak. Not pinpointing it to say this, this, and this. More of, I know what they've been doing for all these years. Okay? I know that they've been doing push-ups, sit-ups, bench press. So where is most of the strength? In the front of the body. But if you look at, even as an adult, look at what chiropractors are adjusting. They're not adjusting your chest. Right? People aren't hurting their chest on the field. It's shoulders, it's back, it's all back of the body. So some of the workouts are geared towards the back of the body exclusively. And one of the other manual resistance we're using is, on like a row machine, like a hammer row with a pad here, we'll do this way. He'll push back, and I'll be behind him. I'll come around this way and push with him. So that's some of the other. A lot of the older people we have, we do the manual resistance on the machine. That's another new thing we're doing because sometimes they don't get in the right positions. We'll do manual resistance by just hanging on them a little bit. But a lot of times now we're using all the machines with no weights on them as manual resistance. And it's a real fun new way of doing it, and that's what I'm trying to design all the time as long as it's safe. But there's another part of the manual resistance, and that's on the machine. Okay? Some of the functional squatting, anybody want to? And come down real slow in this squat. Now I'll have you back here, just lean forward a little bit. Oh, he's a good one. Get down a little bit more. Tuck your elbows in. Yep, just like that. Now really slow, and you push just through your heels. Slower. Lift your chest up. Not your head, your chest. Just lift your chest here, arch back a little bit slow. Don't touch the wall. A little bit higher. And don't get me wrong, this is not just what we do. I mean, we go all out, leg presses, barbell stick bar curl, we do everything. And this is just what, Bob asked me to talk about today, so this is what we're doing. Go all the way down. Keep going. Now I'll have to come in here with certain people. A lot of people won't get down this far. But the progression is to get them down to that point. And I'll just keep my hand here in case he goes flying back. Come on up slow. slow. Now just use your heels, keep your toes on the ground, and breathe through your mouth. Slow. There you go. Keep pushing through your heels only. Good, right there, down. So we'll do this exercise. This is what I mean about the functional exercises. There's so many of them. I got a lot of these from a woman who's a 68-year-old physical therapist. She was unbelievable. She didn't touch me the whole time. We just did a million exercises against the wall and turning around, and it was devastating. You know, it's just a real hard workout. All right, go down. Now keep your chest up. Now he's sweating a little bit. He's starting to work. Look straight ahead, though. And why is he facing the wall? It's to prevent him from, you know, doing what most people do on this exercise. Okay? They lean forward. Working? Good. He's actually pretty good at this. Got down 2 more. Come on. And what we'll do is also we'll make him stay in various positions. Go ahead up slow. Stay right there. If you know where it's most difficult, which is right there, you'll make him stay there for a little bit. And hopefully, as you're speaking, you'll remember him. Come on up a little bit. So, breathe. Breathe. There you go. One more, guys. One more. Good job. So, now we do sometimes come in and just push down a little bit here. Stay right there. Lift your chest up. Come up slow. Breathe. Chest up. Now, somebody tell me, what do they think the first area is going to give out on this? That's good. Thanks. That was pretty basic. Good job. The first area that gives out on that is the low back. And that's why we put them against the wall, because they're not going to lean forward and hit their face on the wall. We're exclusively using the MedX machine, the actual testing device. I think it was $64,000. We just happened to get it in there from a therapist that never used it once. We bought it and didn't use it. So we just had it put in there, and that's the actual low back exercise that we're using. And all the athletes get on there one time every 2 weeks for 3 minutes. It's a real, I don't know if anybody knows what that piece looks like or what it is. It's a real concentrated effort for the low back and just the low back. Some people disagree with that, but I really believe that I've seen some great results out of people on it. You know, especially if they don't have any problems. And there's certainly people who are doing it as a medical and chiropractic tool to, you know, alleviate the problems in low back. And one of the things for that is, like, we do a lot of ab exercises also. But remember, I know most people do ab exercises all the time. And my belief, and I think Arthur Jones brought this up initially, is that the stomach is not the area to strengthen with low back problems. It's the low back that you got to strengthen, not the stomach. And what most people think of, I think of that as being true because the low back muscles are so weak because they can't be worked in isolation. And these back exercises you're doing, back extensions, things like that, they work your butt more than they work your low back. The low back just goes along for the ride. Okay, so that's what we use exclusively for that. We'll still do hyperextension. We'll do swimming exercises right on that gray table that nobody likes. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions?
We prefer no rest in between just for an overall conditioning effect, or is it time efficiency? My question is, if I'm working with a large group of athletes and I have them in pairs, I mean, I have to, you know, one guy go, the next guy go, and then they move to the next exercise. Would you prefer to do it, if we have a one-on-one ratio, you can take them right there. You prefer doing it that way?
What he's asking is do we use no rest exercise all the time, and that he's got a big group of people, and it's hard because they're paired up and one guy goes and the other guy goes. And you're asking about conditioning effect. See, you gotta remember something. Pull this whole thing out of it. I'm at kind of the best situation where it's one-on-one all the time. And a lot of it doesn't fit into these team things. You really have to work at instruction for those lifts about really sending, if they're gonna take a rest in between. One of the problems is that a lot of people are not that intense. They don't have the skill to work intensely. And that's what I said, you have to, over a period of time, you have to step in. You can't just sit back and watch them go and go. You have to step in like you're probably doing and teach the skill of working hard. And that's what I mean. It's not designed around, obviously, how much you can bench or anything like that. But we usually, exclusively, we have no reps in all the workouts. And you got to remember something. The problem with the workout is that if you take somebody all the way, all out, every single time they come in, you're not going to have a business. You're not going to have an athlete left. And you got to remember, what goes on today in sports, these kids are in so many camps. They're running all over the place. They got a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And what happens is, if you take them to the limit every time, it's not going to work. They'll be overtrained. So what we do is some of the workouts, the kids will come out and they'll be like, I really didn't get a good workout. But they determine a good workout as laying on the floor. When it should be, because for example, we'll do neck, forearms, adductors, calves. We do so many calf exercises in there because we believe that everything should be, from the bottom up, strong. These kids are on the field, big chest, little ankle. Okay? That's great, but it's not going to support you. So we work other ways, the back of the body and from lower to upper. And I think a lot of times these kids come in and they're just overtrained. You can't sell them every single time they come in. And it's designed in the workout though. It's not where they come in, okay, 79% intensity today. That's what we're going for. It just doesn't happen. You can't do that. So what we do is we ask them to go all out, but we'll design the exercises around that they don't have to do the big muscles. If the kid did leg press every time he came in, he'd be shot. Okay? Yeah.
You mentioned that you use similar exercises for everyone, except certain cases like pitchers, that you wouldn't use certain exercises?
Yeah, like what he's asking is we have the same workout for everyone. The only way it changes if a kid is injured, if he has specific injuries that we kind of have to rehab, or in a situation where they just don't feel right on certain exercises. Kid might get on a leg press, I feel in my back a little bit. Immediately that kid, that's right out of that program, and something else is put in. So after a while, it becomes his program. But you can't change it too much. You don't want to change it. You still want to hit those muscle groups all the time. And the reason I say pitchers and tennis players, sometimes swimmers, because they get a lot of stress. And we have some great top swimmers in the country. Also, we have the top kid in the United States as far as the swimming is concerned. And we'll change the program in that they have to do a lot more single arm exercises, both sides. I think there was a study at McMaster University where they saw a 33% difference between leg strength in a lot of the people they tested. I'm sure I don't know if that's extreme, it might be, but so we take those people and train them a little differently where they'll do one side of the body, separately. And that's really all we do with them. The biggest thing for us is in season, not off season, because that's when we want the kids in. Because that's the whole program is designed on in-season training. If they're doing it at the school, then I don't bother them. But I want them to come in at least once a week and stay strong throughout the year. And, certainly you can gain strength in season, but we don't do